Hi, welcome back to Daily Movie Recaps. A new movie recapped every single day. Today, we'll recap a 1993 American legal drama film, and the first mainstream Hollywood film to acknowledge HIV or AIDS. Spoilers up ahead, so watch out. Enjoy the recap. Andrew Beckett and Joe Miller, two attorneys, appear before the judge in a construction company case. Andrew Beckett ends up winning the case. He works as a senior associate at Philadelphia's largest corporate law firm. When he arrives for his checkup, the doctor informs him that his blood work has come, and asks him to wait for a few minutes. He arrives at the firm, where Mr. Kenneth and Mr. Robert congratulate him. He meets with Anthea Burton, and allows his assistant to leave home early. He receives a call from his mother, who asks about his blood work. He responds that the doctor has informed him that everything is fine. When Andrew is working late at night, Bob Seidman tells him that Wheeler has called him. Charles Wheeler discusses the case for Highline Incorporated in the Sanders system with Andrew. Andrew is overjoyed to learn that he has been promoted to the senior associate position. When Kenneth Kilcoyne asks about the lesion on his forehead, Andrew replies that he was hit in the head with a racquetball. Kenneth now gives him a strange smile. Andrew thanks Charles and gives him a hug. 9 days later, Andrew is completing the work in his apartment. There are so many lesions on his face. He arrives at the firm, and places the complaint documents on the desk. The next morning, he calls Shelby to the office, that he has submitted the papers, and will work from home in the afternoon. While getting foundation applied to his lesions, Andrew's health suddenly goes bad, and he requests to be taken to the hospital. Miguel Alvarez, Andrew's love partner, rushes to the hospital and greets him. Andrew is told by the doctor to get ready for the colonoscopy. When Miguel hears this, he begins arguing with the doctor. Andrew calls Jamie Collins at the office, where he discovers that the Highline complaint file is missing. Andrew claims to have deposited the file in the office last night. Jamie can't even find that file on the computer. Andrew informs him that he will be arriving there shortly. The scene cuts to 1 month later, where Joe Miller's wife gives birth to a baby girl. He instructs his assistant to get Scotch salmon for his wife, and his assistant informs him that he has got a call from Andrew Beckett. A week later, Andrew visits Joe's office. Joe recognizes him. When he asks what happened to his face, Andrew tells him he has AIDS, and Joe turns away from him. Andrew claims that the law firm fired him on the false charge of misplacing an important complaint document, and intends to file a lawsuit against them for wrongful termination. He placed the documents on the desk, but those were missing the next day, and hard copies from the computer were also missing, but a copy of the complaint was found at the last minute, and was submitted to the court. Andrew was summoned to a meeting with the partners the next day. Wheeler informed Andrew that his position at the firm was no longer secure. He was held responsible for nearly blowing up the case. Andrew opposed being fired so abruptly. Andrew goes on to say that he was sabotaged, and that if he hadn't been fired, he would still be serving his clients with absolute excellence. Joe refuses to take his case, claiming that he does not see one. Andrew leaves, dissatisfied. When Joe goes to the doctor for a checkup, the doctor informs him that AIDS is not spread through touching. Joe discusses homosexuality with his wife in the evening, which reveals he is homophobic. 2 weeks later, Joe is sitting in the library when he sees a man staring at him. He notices Andrew at a nearby table, researching on his own case, being asked by the librarian to go to the research room because he has AIDS, but he refuses to go there. Joe approaches Andrew, and reviews the material he has gathered. A person sitting next walks away. Andrew tells Joe that a woman at the firm also had AIDS, but she wasn't fired. Then they both research the Federal Vocational Rehabilitation Act of 1973. 6 weeks later, while Wheeler and his partners are watching a basketball game on the court, Joe arrives and issues a summons to Wheeler. Later, Wheeler directs his partners to find out everything about Andrew's personal life, what homosexual facilities he went to, and what deviant groups he secretly belonged to. He persuades Bob not to reveal Andrew was fired due to AIDS. On his parents' 40th wedding anniversary, Andrew informs all family members that things will be said about him during the trial, and there will be publicity. Everyone encourages Andrew to fight for his rights. In court, 7 months later, Joe, who is now Andrew's lawyer, accuses his law colleagues of firing Andrew, after learning of his illness. Belinda Conine, the defense attorney, claims that Andrew was mediocre and incompetent at his job, that his employers were unaware of his illness, and that with only a short time left to live, he wanted someone to pay in his rage. Andrew smiles as he looks at his family. Mr. Roger Laird retracts his statement, saying that he found Andrew's work merely satisfactory, though he does agree that Andrew won him a case. As Andrew steps out of court, He sees people protesting homosexuality, and is confronted with weird questions from journalists. Melissa Benedict tells Joe at the next court hearing that Walter noticed her lesions. Even though she told them she had AIDS, she was not fired. When questioned by the defense, she admits to having AIDS as a result of a blood transfusion. According to the defense attorney, she did not contract AIDS because of her own fault. Following this, Andrew appears to be concerned. Anthea tells Joe that the employers pretended not to notice anything, as Andrew became thinner due to his illness, and that Wheeler discriminated against her because of her African earrings. Belinda asks her if she was discriminated against, then how was she recently promoted? A guy in the store misjudges Joe as gay, and an enraged Joe warns him. It's the 10th day of the case. Miss O'Hara claims that, when the complaint file was not found, Mr. Beckett screamed at everyone, but when Mr. Kenton called Mr. Wheeler, Jamie appears with a complaint, claiming it was between closed cases files, and he submitted it in court on time. When Joe asks if she was aware of any problems the partners had with Andrew, prior to the missing file episodes, she responds that she was not. After that, when Joe asks Jamie if Andrew is the kind of lawyer who misplaces important documents, he responds that he is not. Then Joe asks him if he had anything to do with the document's misplacement, and humiliates him by asking if he likes men. Belinda raises objection to this. Joe now speaks to the judge about the general public's hatred against homosexuals, which Andrew fell victim to. On this, the judge sustains the defense's objection. Walter describes how they punished a gay man on the ship for his behavior, and expresses his heartfelt sympathy for people like Melissa, who contracted AIDS through no fault of their own. During Andrew's intravenous treatment in the evening, Miguel notices that he has a blocked vein, and is about to call the nurse, but Andrew asks to skip the treatment. Miguel tosses Andrew's law book, and claims he is not giving him enough time. Miguel becomes emotional when Andrew informs him that he is planning his memorial service. Following this, Andrew throws a party, in which he and Miguel dress up as pilots, and everyone has a great time. The next night, as Joe prepares Andrew for the questions for Monday's hearing, Andrew informs him that he will not live until the trial's conclusion, and has made some charitable provisions in his will. He then begins swinging to opera music. Joe loves his daughter, and cuddles his wife when he gets home. The next day, Andrew is at the witness stand. Joe asks him why he joined the firm, to which he responds that he was impressed with the partners and that it was an opportunity for him. He claims that Charles Wheeler is a highly experienced lawyer with an encyclopedic knowledge of the law. He was supposed to tell Charles that he was gay, but he did not do so 3 years ago, when all of the partners were laughing at homosexual jokes at the Racket Club. Defense attorney inquires if he has ever been to the Stallion Showcase Cinema on 21st Street. Andrew responds hesitantly, saying he's been there 3 times in his life, and had been intimate with a guy there once. According to Andrew, Miguel is not infected. Belinda asks if he can see his lesions in the mirror from 3 feet away, and Andrew says he can't right now. At Joe's request, Andrew opens his shirt, revealing a slew of lesions on his body. Wheeler is called to the witness stand, and when Belinda questions him, he states that he was not aware of Andrew's illness, and that he was not fired because of it. Andrew's health is deteriorating. Wheeler goes on to say that he hired Andrew based on his abilities, and that over the years, he was given numerous opportunities and special treatment. Joe asks Wheeler if he was scared when he discovered Andrew was gay and had AIDS, but Wheeler blames Andrew for insisting on breaking the rules. Then, all of a sudden, Andrew collapses unconsciously. He is taken to the hospital for treatment. Mr. Bob Seidman makes a statement that he noticed changes in Andrew's appearance, and suspected he had AIDS, but he didn't mention it to anyone. Not even Andrew himself. The jury votes in Andrew's favor, awarding him back pay, damages for pain and suffering, and punitive damages totaling nearly $4.5 million. Miller visits Andrew in the hospital after the verdict, and overcomes his fear enough to touch Andrew's face. After Andrew's family leaves the room, he tells Miguel that he is ready to die. A short scene immediately afterward shows Miller getting the word that Andrew has died. The movie ends with a reception at Andrew's home following the funeral, where many mourners, including the Millers, view home movies of Andrew as a healthy child. Please leave a like or comment to let us know which movie you would like to watch next. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications. This way you'll never miss any movie recap again. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.